This is the Bleav in Pro Wrestling podcast. Here's Rick Ucchino and SP3 on the Bleav Podcast Network.
Oh, and we are not alone because it is Friday before a major pay-per-view, and that means it is time for one thing only, our major predictions show. Big couple of weeks for professional wrestling coming up here. Forbidden Door this weekend, Money in the Bank the following weekend, SummerSlam not that far in the distance. I'm going to be there in Nashville, looking forward to it, but it's crazy in the world of professional wrestling right now. We got a huge historic pay-per-view on Sunday with a card that has suddenly doubled in size, SP3. But before we get to you, let's welcome in our special guest here on the Bleav in Pro Wrestling podcast, Forbidden Door Prediction Show edition from Wrestling Inc., the man himself, Nick Hausman. How's it going, good sir?
Good. Thank you so much for having me, Rich. SP3, good to see you as well.
Oh, yes. I was very excited. I was very excited when you said you would come on and do this. It's been a while since we've got to chat about anything outside of the Dallas Cowboys press box at WrestleMania 38. It's been a hot minute since we've got to talk. So.
They had a good spread. You know, I'll be fair. Like their chicken tender game in that press box on point. Would like it if they opened a bar, you know, but whatever.
Well, you got your own bar over there in Casa de Hausman, getting this party started off right.
Well, if you're going to ask today, while we're reviewing or predicting or previewing Forbidden Door, I'll be drinking a Revolution Apollo Hero Hazy IPA, just to give love to a local Chicago brewery there.
There we go. Sounds good. SP3, how we doing today? Big weekend for you. You got one of your dream matches. You've been spouting it all off on Twitter about how correct, once again, you were. I know you're excited for this pay-per-view come Sunday.
You know, I want to thank the great liberator, Antoine Khan, for listening to me and getting my request of the Fatal 4-Way for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Thank you. Thank you, Antoine.
We suddenly went from like 4 matches, 5 matches. We have a 10-match card all of a sudden after Dynamite this week because, of course, AEW ain't going to put on no pay-per-view unless they get into the double digits. It just ain't happening. That's not how they roll. They're going to make sure they get this pay-per-view up till midnight, and we are going to enjoy every damn minute of it. And before we dive into all of the matches that are going on here, before we get to our trivia challenge and see if Nick believes that he can beat SP3 in our New Japan AEW Forbidden Door Trivia Challenge, got to thank our friends over at BetOnline, the continued #1 source for all your betting needs and sports information. Find all the latest odds, news, developments, including this year's NHL Finals, Major League Baseball, fighting news, even the next season's early NFL futures. Get on over to the website or use your mobile device. Sign up today. Receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. I said 50%. Just use our promo code Bleav to get started. That is BLEAV. Get into the action. Bet online where the game starts. And gentlemen, let's dive right into our buy-in on Forbidden Door. We got Gun Club, Max Caster against New Japan Dojo. SP3, you're going to have to introduce me to a few of these fellas here in this matchup. You are the New Japan resident expert on the show here. And yes, scissors all around in this matchup.
Scissor me, daddy. Yeah, scissor me. The New Japan LA Dojo, probably the best dojo or best training school in wrestling, whether it's over in Japan, whether it's in LA. Kevin Knight has the best drop kick I've seen from a rookie in like years. Alex Coughlin, he's been making a name for himself over at Bloodsport in GCW, as well as New Japan Strong. The DKC has been New Japan Strong. He's also been on AEW Dark, and Yuya Uemura is kind of the ace of the last class from New Japan Dojo. Before this current class that they have over in Japan right now, Yuya Uemura was the guy that everybody was like pegging to be the next top star in a few years from New Japan. So they got a lot of talent, but unfortunately they're going against my boy Max Caster. So I got to go with Max Caster and the Gun Club.
I feel like the Gun Club is so red hot right now. A lot of that has to do with the just the silliness and the craziness, and Anthony Bowen's continuing to just, ooze charisma even though he's hurt. AEW does such a great job of keeping these injured stars on television and just letting them get over with their personalities. They're on such a big roll right now. I feel like this is the perfect match for them to kind of continue their momentum. And look, don't go against Billy Gunn and the Ass Boys. They don't tend to lose too terribly often there, Nick. So I'm going to go with Gun Club and Max Caster on this one.
Yeah, no, I feel like, some over AEW talent against the New Japan LA Dojo talent. This card does not seem filled with matches that don't have some level of predictability, right? I mean, there's not a whole lot of build for a lot of these matches, but
yeah,
you're going to get to see some really great action here. I agree with SP3 about Coughlin. I'm most familiar of these four, and yeah, he's really showed up and showed out. And but I that aside, these four men don't really have personalities. They're just kind of guys to AEW fans. AEW fans know Max Caster and the Gun Club, and I find it very hard to believe that Tony Khan would put them out in a way where they're going to look too terrible here. So I also lean Gun Club here, but we'll get a really great rap for Max Caster. We'll probably learn more about these four guys from Max Caster's rap than like anything else most of the AEW universe knows about these four guys. So there you go.
Should be a fun opening contest, regardless. That leads us into and just absolutely stacked main card. And I know SP3 is itching to talk about it. So why don't we just go ahead and start this main card off with a bang. The IWGP World Heavyweight Championship is going to be on the line. Jay White said, I ain't facing Hangman Page. I ain't facing Adam Cole. And Tony Khan's like, you're facing them both. And oh, by the way, here is Okada SP3. I know Nick said that he was getting goosebumps on Wednesday when the music hit and he came down to the ring. This is something you called weeks ago. Just, if you don't know by now, you don't follow SP3 on Twitter because he's been pretty much spouting it for the last couple of days since this went down. Just reminding you all that he called this. So call your shot now. Who is walking out of Forbidden Door with the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship?
I would say the coin dropping on AEW Dynamite this week might be one of my greatest moments in AEW history. And it's one of those moments, Rick, that I always tell you about where I do the inaudible screams that I don't want to wake up my 2-year-olds. And I just go, I had one of those moments when Okada came out on Dynamite. But unfortunately, he is versing my Bullet Club leader, Nick. I don't know if you're aware, but I'm a member of the Bullet Club. Jay White has gave me the seal of approval. So I can't go against my boss. We got our monthly conference call on Saturday before the show. So I will tell him on every prediction show, I went for my boss, Jay White.
I don't think you might be wrong here. I think this is a chance for New Japan to probably double down on Jay White, if anything. I think a lot of people, especially AEW fans who don't really know the New Japan product, would think, oh, here comes Okada. He's coming in. He's going to take this title back. But this title change only happened a couple weeks ago, tops, right?
Yeah.
And so I don't know that look, New Japan has been a little bit more late 90s friendly with their top title as of late, but I don't know that they're going to be so quick to jump ship on Jay White. I think they probably know they've got some more business to do with Okada back in their company. So I actually, not because I'm on the payroll for Jay White, I kind of tend to lean Jay White here. And I think you could pin either of the Adams, probably not Okada, but I do not foresee either. I don't foresee the IWGP title winding up on an AEW star, and I don't foresee the AEW title winding up on a New Japan star. I could be wrong. What a swerve if it goes the complete opposite direction. But for that reason, I tend to lean Jay White as well. I'm with that.
Yeah, it's you set it up at the top of the show. There is a certain level of predictability to this card, but with AEW and New Japan working, pretty fluently with one another, they could swerve some people here and have some major titles end up in separate companies. And Tony Khan could just go sheer, multiverse of madness here and just say, screw it. We're just going to change everything up because he just wants to have fun and just wants to watch the wrestling internet community burn with everything that he does. So I wouldn't be surprised if he decided to do a couple of surprises here or there. Is this the match to do it? I don't think so. I think this is honestly just a way to get, as far as Tony's concerned, both Hangman and Adam Cole on this card. We know that injuries have been an issue for Tony Khan. He's missing a lot of key contributors from his company on this card: CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, Kenny Omega. I know he'd like to have those guys there. Adam Cole's been dealing with a labrum issue. This is a perfect match for him. SP3, we talked about, trying to get him on the card, but limit him, and talked about maybe a tag team match would be the best way. This basically serves the same purpose with a fatal 4-way. It's going to be a way for Adam Cole to get in and out here or there and protect himself and not have to overwork himself. But I think he's still going to go out there and be Adam Cole as much as he can be. But yeah, at the end of the day, somebody from AEW is getting pinned in this. It's probably going to be Hangman Adam Page, I would guess, is the one that's going to eat the loss here, but who knows?
I would lean Cole. And I also, by the way, wanted to throw out a real quick case for Okada. This is a very big platform for New Japan at a time when they're really trying to win back over North American fans. I mean, their North American expansion plans fizzled very, very quickly when the pandemic hit. If you're New Japan and you're looking for a way to just grab a bunch of North American fans really quickly and maybe get them to tune back into whatever the next New Japan Strong is or pay-per-view, maybe a title change. Maybe that's why they did the Jay White title, because they have been so late 90s funky with their top title. Maybe they were like, well, get it off Okada, and then these North American fans, they'll see Okada take it back, and that'll be the grift or whatever. I'm not really sure. But definitely a case for either. I agree. Yeah,
I'm leaning towards Jay White, but I think it's definitely going to be either Jay or Okada who walks.
I do agree with Nick, though. The right result in my eyes is Jay White pinning Adam Cole, because there's a reason why they kind of kept them separate, not going physical. You could see them working together in the match, and then at the right time, Jay White is just known for pulling the trigger at the exact right time, hitting that Blade Runner. All he needs is one to get the victory. But he's also right with New Japan. The last time Jay White had the title, he didn't even successfully defend it once. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that he does that again and loses here.
Yeah, a lot of the build for this, though, also to your guys' credit, has been talking about Adam Cole saying it's all about the Bullet Club and the Undisputed Elite. So it would make sense that the result would come down to the two representatives in this match. So maybe it will be Jay White pinning Adam Cole in this matchup. The next one was a matchup we were all hoping was going to be Zack Sabre Jr. against Bryan Danielson. Bryan Danielson is not going to be cleared for this match, but he has handpicked an opponent for Zack Sabre Jr., somebody who's going to step in his place. Who cares about the result of this match? Guys, who is the mystery opponent? I've seen basically two names tossed out there as slam dunks from the IWC. I'm interested to get your opinion on this. SP3, it's no surprise who you're going with here on this one.
Gotta be Claudio Castagnoli, a.k.a. Cesaro. Bryan Danielson has been the biggest supporter of Cesaro during their time in WWE, both on and off screen. When he was working with creative, he was a big supporter of him in Ring of Honor, and they have so much history with one another. He's the type of guy who's one of the best technical wrestlers in the world and can have a masterpiece with Zack Sabre Jr., and he fits the bill for the Blackpool Combat Club. He had William Regal's final matchup with him. William Regal has said if there's anyone outside of AEW to join the BCC, it would be Cesaro. And to top everything off, the dynamic of the Puerto Rican Combat Club for Blood and Guts, as I like to call them, Eddie Kingston, Santana and Ortiz, and the Blackpool Combat Club, is that Bryan and Kingston hate each other. And if there's one person in this world that Kingston hates more than Bryan Danielson, more than CM Punk, and probably just as much as Chris Jericho, it's Claudio Castagnoli. This fits the bill on so many levels.
Yeah, and AEW has historically delivered. I mean, there's a couple instances where you could probably, nitpick. Did this hit the, what I was expecting kind of meter? But by and large, if word gets out that this is kind of where everybody's head's at, and this is where we all think this is where this could be going, it usually delivers. Now, there's the Gargano twist where, he's going to be in Chicago. There's some signing. He came out. He said, it's a coincidence, but maybe it's not a coincidence because he's a giant dick or whatever. But anyway, the Gargano factor is interesting, right? I think it was Meltzer, if I'm not mistaken, on Observer Radio earlier, who said that it made more sense for Cesaro to be the guy because I believe the way it was phrased by Danielson is it wasn't just this match, it's also blood and guts. So whoever this is a new Blackpool Combat Club member that's not just going to be subbing in for this match, but also a very hardcore match, right? In just a couple days. Cesaro is the kind of guy that can thread the needle and do both those kinds of bouts and pull it off flawlessly. There's very few other, I mean, you think of like a Bray Wyatt's out there, but he's not really known as a technician or I guess you could put him in blood and guts, but that's the only, other big name. I'd love to see Nick Gage in Blackpool Combat Club, but I don't know how that match with Zack Sabre Jr. goes down. Blood and guts, fine, but the ZSG versus MSK or MDK, that's a different situation. Anyway.
Even though it would kind of technically, well, not technically, it would be New Japan versus New Japan in this. Does a guy like Kushida make any sense here? Or is it kind of a possibility at all with him returning to New Japan recently just to kind of get him on this card?
No, because that's not AEW.
Say that again. Sorry, SP3.
I said that's not AEW. So that's the reason why I don't think. And I think Kushida is kind of committed. He said he's committed to being with New Japan. So I don't think he's gonna spend time in AEW as well.
Yeah, it's just one of those other guys that I thought of that, could be possibility, kind of a late fill-in kind of thing. To me, I agree with SP3. I think this is, slam dunk Cesaro. Even though I there's part of me that still secretly wishes that he's the main person for Maximum Male Models on SmackDown, but maybe, that's not going to end up being the case. I think AEW would be the much better place for him, especially. He fits like a glove in Blackpool Combat Club. I think he's going to show up. I think it is going to be Cesaro, and he's going to end up picking the win here over whoever it is. They're beating Zack Sabre Jr., right? Like, we're all picking the mystery opponent to get the win on this one. Thumbs up from the audience here. All right.
Yeah, I all respect to Zack Sabre Jr., but whoever comes out and gets that pop, the fans are not going to want to see that person lose.
Here's another match that was just added this week. We got the Bullet Club versus Dudes with Attitudes. I ain't picking against Sting. How about you, SP3?
Oh man, this is a tough situation because you got my favorite guys in New Japan outside of Jay White and Hiromu Takahashi and Shingo Takagi. LIJ, I love those guys so much. Bullet Club is my home, my bread and butter. I am a member of the Bullet Club, and the Young Bucks are the best tag team in the world. But I'm going to go with this awful name, Dudes with Attitude, and I'm going with Los Ingobernables de Japón.
I'm going the opposite way. I go Bullet Club on this one. The Bucks just came off a big tag title win. B, it's a weird situation where AEW talent is jumping to New Japan. So you have like a weird AEW New Japan kind of alliance on that one side. And I think all due respect to Sting and Darby Allin, I think you guys are giving them too much credit in the pecking order right now. Yeah, Sting's highlight in recent days has been kicking Kyle O'Reilly in the testicles over on a AEW Rampage. It's not even a Dynamite spot. And B, Darby Allin just lost to Kyle O'Reilly for, like, let's be real, no apparent reason, right? Like, the match did not need to happen on that show. And I was just gobsmacked. I was like, why would you do this anyway? So, I mean, I think that this might be a situation of Bullet Club actually getting one over. I don't think Sting will take the pinfall here.
No.
But look, Darby's not exactly where he was a year ago. Not in my eyes.
Yeah. Again, Sting's the Teflon here. He's the bulletproof one, pun intended, in this matchup until he actually, loses a match, whether it's tag or single or otherwise, whether it's somebody else eating a pin. I got to see it to believe it. So I'm going to go with Dudes with Attitudes on this one. And the Young Bucks have been hot as of late, but frankly, they're only heating them up to lose to FTR down the line anyway.
But doesn't the Young Bucks bragging about how they beat Sting without actually pinning or submitting Sting, Isn't that just more fun, Rick?
It is, sure.
It's more fun. Thank you, SP3. Give me the thumbs up. It's just more fun. So anyway.
And this might be one of these matches, just kind of glancing down the card here. This might be one of those matches where they need to give it to people with some New Japan involved, just to kind of like make sure they get some wins on this card as well. But you got matches as well with New Japan and AEW talent in the same match, just like we have here with the Jericho Appreciation Society taking on Eddie Kingston, Wheeler Yuta, and Shota. Somebody pronounce this one for me, SP3.
Shota Umino.
Thank you very, very much. Like I said, for those who are watching for the first time, I'm not that big of a New Japan pro guy. Nothing against him. Just don't have a whole lot of time to watch him. So I'm learning probably with most of the AEW audience who some of these guys are for the very, very first time. But SP3, this is an interesting one. You want to talk about people who have been hot like the Bullet Club have been. Eddie Kingston's been hot. Like, they've actually been letting Eddie Kingston win some matches as of late. He's wanting to get at Chris Jericho's throat. I got a feeling Eddie's going to get another big win on a pay-per-view here. I feel like Team Kingston is going to take this one. Might be a little bit of a shocker, but I'm going with Eddie.
I know one thing about my New York brethren. He doesn't win big matches often. He's only won one pay-per-view matchup in his AEW career, and that was against Jericho at Revolution. I think his big win over Jericho is going to be inside Blood and Guts. We got to bring up the heat for the Jericho Appreciation Society, and Minoru Suzuki is someone who hasn't won in AEW, it seems like, ever, so he needs to win here. So I'm going with Jericho, Suzuki, and Sam.
Yeah, I agree. With Blood and Guts on the horizon, it makes no sense to beat Jericho Appreciation Society. And I'll throw this just a little out there. I hope Sammy Guevara is the one that beats Wheeler Yuta, and Yuta takes the pin. Just because if there's two guys in this match that I'd like to spit out and see something happen with, it'd be those two guys. So I'll just put that out there.
All right, fair enough. Our one and only women's match on the entire card. It is not New Japan versus AEW. It's just a good old-fashioned AEW fight here. Thunderosa, your girl SP3, defending her AEW Women's Championship against Toni Storm. Does your girl get the job done once again at Forbidden Door?
I'm gonna say yes, but these are two of my favorite female stars in all of professional wrestling. Like Toni Storm, was greatly underutilized in WWE. Because of her age and because of her look, I thought she would immediately get up to the main roster, and it took like 3 years to get her there. And then with AEW, they took a while to kind of get her going. I still feel like she should have won the Owen Hart Foundation Women's Tournament, because that would have made more sense for her to get the shot and opportunity here. But hey, better late than never. She's getting this on this big card, so I'm going with Thunderosa.
How you feeling, Nick?
Yeah, no, I'm not really sure, right? I don't really know that they've done Thunderosa a whole lot of, service in her title run. Britt Baker.
Not really.
Britt Baker taking that Owen Hart Cup title tournament. I mean, she's still pushed in a way where Britt Baker still kind of in some ways has felt like the champion, and Jade Cargill holding the TBS title and being just so dominant and undefeated and just such a personality. I just don't know. I was talking to Hangman Page earlier. Cheap plug. Go check that out. Wrestling Inc. Literally dropped like an hour ago as of this recording. But, he was a guy who said that, it was his first time being the top person. The pressure got to him. He doesn't know that he became the kind of champion he wanted to become by his own volition, right?
You hear that a lot with first time, champions. You tend to hear that a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we're hearing it, I think, a little from Thunderosa. Not so much. Jade Cargill seems to have fallen into that role pretty nicely. But Thunderosa, she seems, it's like you get the title and you think something's just going to magically click. And I just wonder if it's a case of Thunderosa not kind of moving with the responsibility of the title and elevating herself in other ways. Take that for what you will. It's a very broad comment, right? So I do wonder if they want to continue the investment in Thunderosa, see where it goes. I mean, she's obviously great and a wonderful competitor, but Toni Storm has her own momentum right now and has had that WWE shine. and kind of knows, what's expected in somebody in a bigger position. So I don't know. I don't know if you do roll the dice and take this moment for. I wish they'd have done it with Ruby Soho, and you've seen how badly she's been struggling since she lost to Britt Baker coming out of the gate. They definitely need to elevate more women in their women's division to seem credible right now. So,
yeah, this is a big spot for Toni, obviously. A lot of people saw her immediately come in and were kind of expecting, AEW to kind of strap the rocket to her and let her go and use her in a way that WWE really didn't highlight her. And they didn't do that. They have slow played with Toni. They've kind of let her get her feet wet and have kind of slowly integrated her in. And yes, she did not make it to the finals of the Owen Hart tournament, which I know a lot of people scratch their heads at. And that's when you get the IWC Warriors going, push somebody other than Britt Baker. But these are the same people who are saying, stop pushing ex-WWE talent. It's like, pick one here, guys. So it's like either continue to go with Thunderosa or go with the ex-WWE talent. I feel like they're not. Yeah, I'm sorry.
I just want to say, I think there's a difference with the ex-WWE talent in the women's division than the men's division. I think there's a lot more. I think it just maybe because it's just a guy oriented. I think there's a lot more people that complain about that. I think with the women's division, it's just kind of give me a good women's division, right? That I don't think that the fans are as quite finicky about that argument that you're bringing up with the women as they are.
I know. I just like to give people shit. That's all. I just like to broad stroke things and give people shit. That's all.
That's fine. That's fine. I'm getting into the nitty gritty. Anyway.
I feel like this one could go either way. Honestly, I don't feel like they're ready to pull the trigger yet on Thunderosa. To me, it still feels like they want to go back to Thunderosa and Dr. Britt Baker because, of course, they freaking do. Because, it's still Britt Baker and she's still heavily pushed. And you never know who else might be coming in down the line where it might make sense to bring in and face somebody like Thunderosa as maybe a heel coming into the company, possibly, maybe, depending on some lawyer moves. We'll see down the road. But I'm going to go with Thunderosa to get the win over Toni Storm. This one, to me, going to be a great matchup. But, man, this one might be one of the top two most predictable matches on the card because I think FTR is winning this one running away. SP3 and I have talked about this ad nauseum with FTR hopefully meeting down the line with the Young Bucks with literally all the tag team gold on the planet on the line. I definitely think this is FTR that's going to take home the IWGP tag team titles with the Ring of Honor tag team titles. And yeah, they just put all the damn gold on these guys. They have been way too white hot as of recently. Cash Wheeler's on the run of, Dax Harwood's on the run of a lifetime right now. Nick's calling the timeout. Nick is calling the timeout. What are we doing here, sir?
Now, I am not a aficionado of lucha wrestling. All right. But I do have a member of the Wrestling Inc. team, Eric Mutter, shout out to Eric, who is a lucha aficionado, and he handles the bulk of our lucha news. I also have another great New Japan aficionado, Ross Berman, wonderful to have on the team. And they were getting into a very intense Slack discussion. For those that don't know what Slack is, it's like an internal corporate message board, whatever. So Eric and Ross are going they're not fighting, but it's like a really smart discussion because I don't know if y'all are familiar about the drama with CMLL, AAA, and New Japan Pro Wrestling. So if CMLL works with New Japan, Toni works for AAA, and I guess anybody who is AAA or has screwed over CMLL like Andrade or whatever, they don't get to be on Forbidden Door. It's a whole thing, right? So the whole holdup here with FTR is would New Japan put their titles on the tag team that also holds their tag team championships? Now, this is a company that is denying Phoenix, Andrade, even working this card, right? So my heart is with you two. My heart wants FTR to win this match. My brain says they retain, or we see Roppongi Vice walk away as new champs. Cobb and look, my heart is with y'all. I'm just wanting to, for the sake of making this a good preview show with as much inside information as possible.
Sure, love it.
that whole situation needed to be explained, because if FTR does not win these titles, it is because of politics, and you all need to know that. Okay, so there you go. Politics, drama
destroys everything. SP3, who you going with here?
And to explain further for anyone who didn't understand what Nick was saying, AAA is the Bloods, CMLL is the Crips, and that's the issue here. Yes, exactly. See, he knows the
You don't want to know how I know that. Don't ask that.
It's a lot of issues. There's a lot of issues here, and I agree that there is that underlining of, will they want to put those titles? And I'm surprised that AAA haven't said, "Yo, FTR, come over here so we could take these titles off of you by now." But that hasn't happened yet. I'm leaning towards FTR, but then I get asked the question: has Dax Harwood, Cash Wheeler, Trent Beretta, Rocky Romero saved a person's life before? No, Great Okan has. And I want to see Great Okan in the United States more to ride on mechanical penises. So on this prediction show, I'm going with the United Empire.
Wow.
I'll take Roppongi Vice just to be the other team, because I think they have a fair chance. So anyway.
Ride or die FTR for life, baby. All right, this is the mid-card championship that nobody asked for in AEW that we're getting anyway. The All-Atlantic Championship, Fatal 4-Way, Malachi Black, Pac, Miro, and Ishii throwing it down.
I got breaking news. There's just been a tweet. Tomohiro Ishii is apparently injured, and he will be replaced by Clark Connors in this matchup.
Oh, wow. That's kind of like perfect timing. Could not have put that out there better. So, okay.
Well, Clark Connors ain't winning this title. I hate to tell everybody that.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. So,
Spoiler alert.
There's that other guy. All right, so screw it. Between Pac, Miro, and Malachi Black, SP3, who's winning this one?
My pick from the start has been Malachi Black, because I feel with Miro, it's a parallel move. He's not getting elevated because he's already been one of the greatest TNT champions, and that's just giving him another mid-card title. And I think with Malachi Black, it will give the House of Black some purpose, since there's no trios titles yet, and there should have been trios titles before this title, but I'll go with Malachi Black.
I'll go with Pac, just because I think he's really lost in the shuffle with the whole Death Triangle thing. Lucha Brothers, like, it's also muddled. This guy needs something to stand out right now. Malachi Black has House of Black. I would not say have him take the pin. Well, no, Clark Connors is taking the pin. What the F?
I was going to say, yeah.
It's a dealer's choice here. Who's going to pin Clark Connors? So I'll say Pac over Connors strong. That's how I'm going.
I'm going Malachi. I think Pac gets a face full of the black stuff. I think what's the dude's name? Connors?
Clark Connors.
Clark
Connors is getting a foot to the face, and he's getting pinned 1, 2, 3. I don't know how Miro's getting taken out of this. I don't think Miro should be in this match personally. I think it's just a way to get him on the card, but he should be higher up in the pecking order as far as AEW is I'm concerned, which is why I don't want him to win this title. I want him to move up to bigger and better things in AEW. I think Malachi Black, I understand what you're saying, Nick, with being lost in the shuffle and Pac. I would honestly say the same thing about Malachi. Since he's kind of been there, he's been more on-screen black magic than he's really been like picking up, major wins since the Cody feud. So I think Malachi needs it a little bit more, and I think Malachi is going to win this.
Fair enough.
This one's just going to be flat out fun. Like, Will Ospreay's winning, right? Like, Will Ospreay is going to win this match unless Toni decides to pull a swerve here and do something really fun and have Orange Cassidy win. Imagine the pop if Orange Cassidy captures the IWGP United States Championship. But to me, this screams Will Ospreay is going to win. I think this has some shock potential, Nick. But I think either way, this is just going to be a really, really fun matchup where these guys can just have a ball.
Not to spoil a future prediction, but if Mox is going to beat Tanahashi, Ospreay's beating somebody of worth, and there I feel like Orange Cassidy was the agreed upon of worth. So I definitely go Ospreay in this situation. And I do. I think this match was the trade-off for the Moxley Tanahashi. I think this is where the two sides were able to meet in the middle. So,
SP3.
Yeah, I mean, you can't have Will Osprey lose all these trio matches and then lose to Orange Cassidy. I think that this is going to be the closest we get to Revolution 2020 when it was Pac versus Orange Cassidy. Still Orange's best match ever. I think Will Osprey is going to have a whole bunch of fun with this, but yes, Orange is getting the Hidden Blade, Stormbreaker, 1, 2, 3.
Finally, our main event, dream matchup here. It's been teased and in the works for a long ass time now. It's finally going down for the interim AEW World Championship. Jon Moxley, Hiroshi Tanahashi. Look, there's not much to say here, right? Because I really, really doubt they're going to put the interim world title on somebody who's not in AEW. I think Jon Moxley is the perfect guy to hold that interim belt down until CM Punk comes back. To me, this is runaway. Jon Moxley's winning this. He's going to become technically the first two-time ever AEW World Champion. This is just slam dunk for me. How it goes down, I'll enjoy the ride, but I know where it's stopping.
Well, here's what's going to be interesting. We started this kind of conversation. Where does this lead? Is this the end of the road until next year when we come back to Forbidden Door? Because Tony's already said he wants to do it again, right? Yeah. Or are we seeing something that's working and we want to push it further? Would Hangman Page winning the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship a couple matches before the main event make a lot of people go, what the F's about to happen to the main event, right? Yeah. If you want to continue to do this, because again, we don't know, right? I'll just devil's advocate the other side of the situation here because we got a couple minutes, but if the titles were to wind up on wrestlers from different companies, certainly opens up the door for a lot more business to be done between each side. And so I see Forbidden Door as either the end of a chapter with a maybe chapter, depending on how New Japan gets the North American footing going, independent of AEW, or maybe these companies have genuinely seemed to find a way to do business together and see a bigger opportunity. And I'll just throw that out there. I think I'm probably very, very wrong with the latter, but I thought it was worth at least putting out there because, as you guys said, Tony likes to screw things up. Not screw things up, but screw with people. Do screwy things.
Yeah, Tony could wake up and choose violence. All right, he just could. He could just say F it. And the only thing that's keeping me from thinking he's going to do that is, he has to work with another company, on this and give and take and make sure not one side is getting it over the other. If Hangman Adam Page walks away with the IWGP World title, or Adam Cole for that matter, oof, all of a sudden that main event gets very, very, very interesting.
Exactly.
If that doesn't happen, yeah, Jon Moxley's winning SP3.
Because Tony does that stuff. I'm trying to remember exactly the show it was where there was something that happened earlier, and all of a sudden you were like, oh, wait, now I'm questioning the main event. He bragged about it. I don't know, all these media scrums blur together a little bit, but it's happened. He'll mess with you. And again, New Japan seems to be in late 90s mode as of late as they try to find their groove again after the pandemic. So I don't count them out from wanting to do something maybe a little outside the box either.
Yeah, I've been saying since this match was made that there's a 15 to 20% chance that Hiroshi Tanahashi wins because he was originally supposed to verse CM Punk. He's already said in promos he's challenging CM Punk to come to Wrestle Kingdom. And if Punk's not back by the end of 2022, I don't think there's a bigger stage for him to come back than Tokyo Dome in the main event against Tanahashi, especially if they're doing 2 nights at the Tokyo Dome. Why not do the second night for the unified AEW World title?
And let's be fair, SP3, with the introduction of the All-Atlantic Championship, it would probably be okay if one of the titles just went to Japan, right? And then we can make some of the other titles that are around right now maybe a little more important,
They got 3 companies worth of belts in AEW right now. So, yeah, go ahead. Ship some of those bad boys overseas. Who gives a damn? Open up some TV time somewhere. We got a couple of minutes left. Have to get into this because SP3 has a title to defend. It is our Bleav Trivia Challenge. Does Nick believe he can beat SP3? This is going to be very, very quick. The 3 rounds, Nick. All right, it's going to be 3 rounds. The first 2 rounds are timed.
God.
And then the third round will be head-to-head. Wait till I finish the question. Say your name to buzz in. Whoever buzzes in first and gives the correct answer will get that question right and the amount of points that I assign to it, which basically makes the first 2 rounds pointless. But regardless, we're going to have some fun anyway. SP3 will go first as always, just so you can see how things are done.
I'm in.
Hush, SP3. This is how things go. Round number 1, SP3. Hiroshi Tanahashi holds the record for most IWGP World title reigns with 8. You have 30 seconds to name the 8 different men that he defeated to become champion. When the music starts.
Kazuchika Okada, Kenny Omega, Kenji Muda, damn it, Shinsuke Nakamura. No, fuck.
I'd be so boned right now. Don't worry about it.
Man, I might have to call a flyer. AJ Styles.
Yes. Got that one at the buzzer. You got 4 of the 8. I'm hoping I don't butcher some of these names. Giant Bernard was in there.
Okay.
Yeah. Nagata,
Yes.
Nakaishi,
Yes.
Kojima, Okada, AJ Styles, Kenny Omega.
I've only been watching for half of Okada for Tanahashi's run, so I'm glad I got half of them.
There you go. You got 4. So it's 4-0. All right, Nick, you see how it works now. You have 30 seconds.
Oh, God.
To name 8 of the 9 non-Japanese wrestlers who have held either the IWGP Heavyweight or World Heavyweight Championships, because I know they recently combined the world title with the IC title. So it's just their World Heavyweight Championship. 8 of the 9 non-Japanese wrestlers who have held that when you hear the music.
I am about to get walloped on. Brock Lesnar, right?
Yes.
Did Kurt Angle hold it? No, he just fought him for it. Carl Gotch. Let's go. Did Brody hold it? What about Stan Hansen? Did he have the title at any point?
No.
I think all the Gaijin that went over. Definitely not Andre. This is really bad. I'm not a Japanese wrestling expert. I got one. I got Brock.
Switchblade Jay White, AJ Styles, Will Osprey, Kenny Omega, Vader.
I was thinking older guys.
That's all I got.
I was thinking
I would have got more.
I wasn't thinking modern guy. I was thinking like older. Man. You are. Now I feel like an idiot. Anyway.
Big Van Vader. Big Van Vader was the first. Then you had Hashim.
I'd have got to Vader eventually. That would have. I gave you 20 more seconds. Vader kind of.
you were getting there. Once you said Stan Hansen, I was like, he's gonna say Vader next. Now
that's the thing is I was like, I'm trying to think like I overthought the question. That was
the other 2 that SP3 did not name: Scott Norton and Bob Sapp.
Oh shit, Scott Norton's awesome. Damn it.
All right, SP3, let's test your IWGP United States and Intercontinental title knowledge. 6 current and or former, this is Forbidden Door after all, WWE superstars have held either the US or Intercontinental Championships. You have 10 seconds to name 5 of them. When you hear
they currently working with WWE?
Current or former. Current or former.
Shoot.
When you hear, it could be either the United States or IC or both. There's a clue for you, or both.
Nakamura, MVP, AJ Styles, Juice Robinson. Juice Robinson worked for WWE. Give me that one. Cody Rhodes.
I'll give you Cody Rhodes as well. Sorry, that was my mistake on Juice Robinson. So it was actually 7. So I'll give you that one as well. The ones that I did have: Cody Rhodes, Chris Jericho, Kenta, Jon Moxley, Shinsuke Nakamura, and MVP. MVP was a good shout, by the way. That was good. I didn't expect you to get MVP.
He's the first ever IWGP Intercontinental Champion.
Yep. So there you go. So that's 4 on top of the 4 you already had. So it is 8-1. 8-1. 1.
Oh,
Nick,
man.
I know you're not a New Japan guy, so this is just a full-fledged AEW question for you.
All right. Well, I might know this one then. Let's find out.
5 active wrestlers in AEW who have wrestled more than one match, more than one, are still undefeated. You have 10 seconds to name those 5 when you hear the music.
Well, Jade Cargill obviously is one. 5 wrestlers that are undefeated. Who's new to the party here? Adam Cole's been beat. Brian's been beat. CM Punk. He's never been beat, right? CM
He
Punk?
lost once. He lost once.
In the okay. All right.
He lost twice to MJF.
Yeah.
That's right. He did lose to MJF.
Hook.
Time's up. Time's up. Hook was one. Yep. Buddy Matthews, 6-0. Buddy Matthews has won 6 trios matches.
Hook was obvious.
Hook was obvious.
Yeah.
Paul White.
Buddy Matthews lost to Pac. He lost to Pac in the qualifier for the All Atlantic title.
Oh, they didn't update their freaking stupid, idiotic records on AEW.com then.
You guys got the whole Team Taz color scheme going on too. I should have picked up on that. You know.
So since I screwed up Buddy Matthews there, I'll give you an extra point. Sting.
Oh, yeah.
Sting, by the way, the guy we talked about ad nauseum at the top is 9-0. Sting is a perfect 9-0. So it is 8-3, which means this final question will be worth, shockingly, 6 points. All right. So again, you guys have to wait until I finish the question to ring in. You ring in by saying your name. Are you ready?
Yes.
I'll take that as a yeah. Okay, there we go. Very simply, who has the most wins in the history of AEW?
SP3.
SP3 rings in first.
Damn, I should have thought about this. Jungle Boy?
Wow. That's
Is he
correct.
right? That's right.
It's right. It's Jungle Boy.
He said it, and I was like, "That sounds right," although I didn't know.
79 career wins in AEW, even though he just took a big L a couple weeks ago. Damn it! You always do this. You find a way. You've won 6 in a row now. Bastard even beat Renee Paquette on trivia about her old former colleague. Son of a bitch. All right. Well, Nick, it doesn't matter what SP3 has going on. You're the winner's circle. Plug whatever you got.
Wow. Go support WrestlingInc.com. And I'm at Nick_Hausman on Twitter. That's it. That's all I have to promote. I really enjoyed this. I had a great time. I'd love to come back and talk more wrestling with you guys sometime. So
Yes, absolutely.
And Rick, you're gonna be in Nashville for SummerSlam, so I'll get to see you then.
Oh yeah. Rock
Maybe
on.
we'll be at a press booth if it's that classy. I don't know. Sometimes
Nissan Stadium. Here's the thing. Here's what I've heard about Nissan Stadium. Best view of any press box in the NFL.
Oh,
So it's got to be better than Vegas and Dallas, where we needed binoculars to see the ring. So that
but is there a bar?
I mean, it's Tennessee. I'm sure there's at least somebody's going to be there serving moonshine, right? Like
Here's the thing: is I was the degenerate in the WrestleMania press booth, where I had to go over and ask the guy who let people in and out if I could go down, buy a beer with the fans and bring it back to the press booth. And he was like, I have to call somebody about that. And then he called somebody about that. And then he looked at me and he goes, you can't do that. And I go, okay. So I had to just like leave the press box and go drink a beer amongst the people, which was wonderful, actually. I saw Cody Rhodes debut with a beer in my hand amongst the fans. It was fantastic. But yeah, I'm that guy. I don't mind. Whatever. Professional environment. You know, you got an IPA. Let's have a good time.
You were that guy in shorts and flip-flops asking for a beer in the press box. That's who Nick Hausman is. SP3, you got your show this weekend as well, right? Big guest from Fightful.com.
Yes, later today we're going to be live at 11:35 a.m. Eastern time for our Forbidden Door preview with Will Washington of Grab City, as well as Joe Hobart of Late Night Grin. And then tomorrow, True Hill Heat 181, 10:05 a.m. Eastern time with special guest Kyrian, one of the best experts when it comes to New Japan Pro Wrestling. So check that out.
All right. And guys, thank you for tuning in here today. Pound that thumbs up button for me. It really helps drive up our audience. If you're new to the channel and you have not subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button as well. That really helps us out. Appreciate you guys so much. SP3 and I will be back on Monday breaking down this card, and let's be honest, it's the world of professional wrestling. Any other major story that breaks between now and then, it's been a hell of a few weeks. This one's actually been kind of quiet. It's been nice. It's been nice. You've been listening and or watching the Bleav in Pro Wrestling podcast, Forbidden Door Predictions Edition, brought to you by Bet Online. Enjoy your weekend, everybody.